I never imagined the day would come where I'd have to stop my dad's wedding. I had always dreamt of seeing my father happy, but this day, everything felt wrong. It was a sunny Saturday, one of those days where everything feels perfect, the kind of day you'd expect for a wedding. Dad had been in such a good mood for weeks now. He'd met Sarah about 6 months ago, and they'd instantly clicked. To be honest, I could tell he was smitten with her. He smiled more than I had seen him smile in years. It was hard for me to not feel happy for him, but deep down, something about Sarah made me uneasy. Maybe it was the way she acted around me, always trying too hard to be nice. Or maybe it was the way she barely acknowledged my mom when she came to visit. My mom and dad had been married for 20 years before she passed away. I never told anyone this, but I didn't want anyone to replace her, not even Sarah. That morning, everything seemed normal. We had just finished breakfast when Sarah's friend, Michelle, came to drop off some decorations for the wedding. I was sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through my phone when I overheard their conversation. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the words that followed shook me to my core. "Are you sure this is going to work?" Michelle asked, her voice low. "Don't worry," Sarah replied. "Once the wedding's over, he won't even remember her. I'll be the one he'll be focused on. It's all about control. Once I'm married to him, everything will be mine." I froze. Everything in my body screamed for me to leave the room, but my feet wouldn't move. The words Sarah had just said echoed in my mind. It was clear now. She wasn't marrying my dad because she loved him. She had an agenda. She wanted control. She wanted everything, and I wasn't going to let her get away with it. I didn't know what to do at first. I wanted to forget about it. I wanted to pretend like I hadn't heard anything, but deep down, I knew I couldn't. If I didn't stop this now, my dad would be walking into a nightmare. I couldn't let that happen. I waited until the afternoon. The house was buzzing with activity, everyone getting ready for the big event. I knew it was now or never. I walked into the living room where Dad and Sarah were standing, greeting the guests. Dad's eyes lit up when he saw me, but I could see a flicker of nervousness in Sarah's eyes. "Hey, Dad," I said, my voice steady even though my heart was pounding. "Hey, buddy, are you excited for today?" he asked, his smile wide. "Yeah, but, I need to talk to you. It's important," I replied, trying to keep my voice calm. Sarah's smile faltered. I could see the tension building between us, and I knew she was starting to suspect what I was about to say. "What is it, son?" Dad asked, his brow furrowing. I took a deep breath. "Dad, I overheard something today. I don't think Sarah is who she says she is. She's been using you. She said she wanted control of everything. She doesn't love you. She's just after your money and your life." Sarah gasped, her face turning pale. My dad, though, looked like I had slapped him. His eyes widened with shock, and for a moment, he just stared at me, unable to process what I had said. "Is this true?" Dad asked, his voice trembling. Sarah quickly stepped forward, trying to salvage the situation. "What is he talking about, Tom? This is ridiculous." But it was too late. Dad turned away from her and looked at me, his eyes filled with pain. "Is this what you really want to do, son? Ruin my happiness?" I could see how much it hurt him to hear that, but I couldn't back down. I had to stand my ground. "Dad, I'm not trying to ruin your happiness. I'm trying to save you. This isn't love. Please, you deserve someone who loves you for you, not for what you can give them." For a long moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, Dad shook his head, as if waking up from a deep fog. I can't believe this," he whispered. He looked over at Sarah, and there was no trace of the warm smile he usually had when he looked at her. "I'm sorry, Sarah, but I can't marry you. I can't be with someone who doesn't care about me." Sarah's face twisted with anger and disbelief. "You're making a mistake, Tom. You'll regret this." But my dad, looking broken but resolute, just shook his head again. "No, I won't. I don't know what I was thinking. I was blind to it, but I see now." With a final glance at Sarah, he turned to me. "Thank you. I don't know what I would have done without you." I nodded, trying to hide the lump in my throat. My dad had just canceled his wedding, and it was the hardest thing I'd ever had to do. But in that moment, I realized something. Sometimes love isn't enough to protect you from the wrong person. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it's the only thing that can set you free. As Sarah stormed out of the house, my dad pulled me into a hug. It was the first time in a long while that I felt like everything was going to be okay. We didn't need a wedding to be happy. We just needed each other, and that was enough.